Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Got a project on the Valiant today, which is going to be making all new brake lines, at least the front ones, and installing a proportioning valve and also a line lock. So we'll get started on that in a minute. But first off, a little update. I was supposed to take Big Red to the drag strip last weekend and didn't end up making it because it rained. I did put a line lock on the red truck, and I took the underdrive pulleys off because it was only charging 11 volts and it kept getting hot. So after putting the regular factory pulleys back on, everything's fixed with that. It's charging right now and it's cooling properly. Okay, so on to the project. The lines on here are shot, plus I'm going to be switching over to disc brakes from drum brakes. So what we have is a proportioning valve, a line lock, and this is a master cylinder off of a mid-80s M-body Mopar. So that's your Grand Fury, your Diplomat, and Chrysler Fifth Avenue, that type thing. Here I've also got a flaring tool, we have brake line, and a brake line straightener. So because it cost about $150 for pre-bent lines, and I'm changing master cylinders and stuff anyways, we're going to make all the lines. It's a lot cheaper. A coil of this is about $25, I believe. The expensive part is the tools. The flare tool is like 350 bucks, and this straightener is about $100. But if you already have this stuff, or you know somebody that has it, it's definitely better to go ahead and make the lines. And if you have these tools, you can also do the fuel line, which we're going to do later. So that's a big plus. I'm going to go ahead and get that master cylinder put on, and I'll bring you back when we start on the lines. Alright, so a little update here. New master cylinder's on with the adapter plate. The junction block there is out, the front brake lines are out, rear brake line is still there, and now I've gotten to the point of mounting the proportioning valve and the line lock, and I have the connectors for the brake line, but I need 1/8 MPT to this to be able to connect it, because that's not made for a brake line to be hooked. It needs to be converted with a 1/8" MPT. So I need to get that from the store, and I need to go get 2 bolts to mount this. I got a couple of stainless steel screws to mount the line lock, and that's it. So need to make the first store run and get those parts. We'll be right back. Okay, back to the project here. I went to the store, got a couple of pieces, but I went ahead and mounted my proportioning valve. I just have 1 bolt holding it there. I'm thinking right on the fender well is where the line lock's gonna go, and this is it. This is the top where the inlet goes, so we're gonna run it straight from the master cylinder into here and then out the bottom. What I had to get at the store was these 1/8 MPT to go in right there, and then I got these fittings that I'm going to use on the end of my brake line to go right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and mount that, and then we can get started making some brake lines. Okay, so like I said, I only have 1 bolt holding this in, but you can see it says rear inlet, rear out, FI, so front in, front out, front out. And right here I mounted this to where pretty much you can come out of the master cylinder, just do basically almost a 90 right there and straight in, then the bottom will come straight out into the proportioning valve. So okay, so now I'm going to show you how to use the straightener and the flare tool and start making some brake lines. Alright, so when this is a 25-foot piece of 3/16 brake tube, and when you get it, it comes like this for shipping purposes. Clearly, what you want to do is get you a piece kind of straight, and then I'm gonna slide it through. There's 5 rollers in here. Let me turn you around a little bit. So there's 5 rollers in here. You just want to feed it through. Get it out on the other side. Loosen up a little bit. Okay. What I'm going to do is just feed it through, tighten it a little bit and run it back and forth till I get things straight. Okay, so for the first piece, I only need a short piece, so I'm just going to take it off of this. I'm not going to straighten this whole thing. I'm just going to straighten it as I need it. Okay, so I have this short piece cut because that's pretty close to what size I'm going to need. I'm going to go ahead and flare one in, and I have the fitting for my brake line lock. I'm going to put that on one side, and then my other end is going to go on this side for my master cylinder. After I bend it, I'm going to measure it one last time. I might take a little bit more off, and then I'll flare that side, and then we'll have our line made. So, this flaring tool, as you can see, is a hydraulic unit, and I'll show you how to use it, but the flare on this is going to be superior to the little handheld flaring tools you buy at the store. This is an expensive kit, but it's worth it. Okay, so first up, you find your right die for the size of your brake line. You'll slide your brake line through it, leave a little poking out. You're going to drop it in the tool and slide it all the way back to the back. So it looks like this. Now what we have to do is I just get another die and make sure that line is pressed flush. Alright, so hold on 1 second. Okay, as you can see, I have my brake line flush. This is completely tight, holding the die in, and then you need to put this part in. Go ahead and back it all the way out. So this is the part that actually does the first part of the flare. This is going to be a double flare. So we put that in, make sure the parts align. Alright, and then once it's screwed all the way up, just give it a few pumps and you'll feel it bottom out. Alright, that's as tight as it'll go. Release the hydraulic, back this out. I'm going to swap this for the cone for the second part of the flare. As you can see, it's got a single flare on it. I'll put this in for the double flare. Make sure it centers in the tube. Alright, it's bottomed out. So I'm going to pump it just like before until it's just too hard to squeeze. Back the hydraulic off and screw this off. Alright. Loosen that. There's your double flare. Now, there's my other fitting, or my fitting. And you can see it's a perfect double flare. Alright, now I just need to bend it and do my other side. Now you can buy benders and stuff. In fact, here's one type of bender. You just grab right there and you can bend it that way. Most of the time, the easiest way to do it is with your hands. You just bend it real slow. You don't want to kink it. Okay, here's my first line. This is going to go from my master cylinder to my brake line lock for the front brakes. And as you can see, it's got a little curve in it, but these are custom lines, and you know, I'm not perfect. I can't get everything perfect, so I think that'll look pretty good. Let's get it on. Okay, so there's the first line hooked up to the line lock. Next one I'm going to do is from the line lock to the apportioning valve down there and just keep continuing and get it all done. Okay, so I went ahead and made the other line for the rear brake inlet. Got it hooked up. I got it tucked away pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna have any clearance issues with the shifter there. It does take a lot of practice to get these bends right. It's just trial and error, but I think it's turning out pretty good. Just want to give you another angle on the brake line straightener here. We had it camera in a different view, but there's 5 rollers here and a tension screw, and as you roll it through there, it just straightens that brake line out. And this goes from, I think, 3/16 all the way up to 1/2 inch. So whenever I do my brake or the fuel line, I'm also going to use this. Just order steel fuel line and make all my own fuel line. So, well, I'm going to wrap up the video right there. I'm going to keep working on the car, but I just wanted to show you, a couple of lines and demonstrate the tools and all for you, and also just the progress making on the car. So I'm going to keep working on the brakes. Next time, probably going to start with the K-member, getting all the suspension put back in, and hopefully the transmission will be done soon, and we can get everything on the front end of the car pretty much put in, the big items, and then onto the back. All right, well, that's it. See you next time.